Energy stocks fell on Friday after the announcement by the government of the windfall tax, of course, which apparently isn't a windfall tax, it's an economic levy of some sorts. I can't actually remember what Rishi Sunak called it, but there we go. And what that meant was that oil companies, especially focused in the North Sea, are going to be taxed an extra 25% on their profits from operations. So on Thursday, when the announcement was made, nothing really happened. I mean, some of the stocks, in fact, BP and Shell actually went up in price, which was quite interesting, actually, because you would expect for an announcement of a tax that these companies would actually go down in price. But I think the reason was that it wasn't as bad as as investors had expected. So I think the kind of general consensus was that there was going to be quite a hefty tax, but the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, has said that 5 billion out of, I think it was 10 or 15 billion, is going to be gained from energy companies. So that seems like a lot less than investors expected. But on Friday, what happened was the market kind of seemed to catch up with the news. So on Thursday, people were still digesting the information. It happened round about midday, 1 p.m, something like that. And I was kind of watching the energy stocks at this point. They kind of fell, and then they jumped back up and finished the day up. And then on Friday, some of the stocks tanked. And what we can see here, so I've put a few stocks on the watch list here to show you kind of what happened. Shell and BP, which are the two kind of big oil majors in the UK, listed on the UK market, they both were okay because their operations are spread around the globe, so they're a little bit more insulated to this windfall tax or levy, if you want to call it that. So what that means is that when BP and Shell are making money from overseas operations, they won't be taxed that extra 25% on them, but they will be taxed on their North Sea assets. BP has more of those than Shell, so that is going to affect them a little bit more. And I've just realised I've got the US prices for Shell and BP there, so ignore those ones because the price for BP and Shell are totally different on the UK market. But you get the gist. So they are going to be less affected, even though they're probably going to contribute to the majority of the extra tax that is paid. The companies that didn't fare so well were the companies that have got the majority of their operations in the North Sea. So companies like Harbour Energy, Serica, Inquest, and Hurricane Energy, as you can see there. So we've got the symbols, but we don't have the names, which is obviously a little bit annoying there. But Harbour Energy, Serica, Inquest, and Hurricane all fell around about 10% each. And that's because the majority of their operations are in the North Sea. So all of that extra money they're going to make from a high oil price is going to be eaten away by tax. Whereas Shell and BP, investors are still going to be raking in the cash machine money that Bernard Looney said at his famous results presentation this year when he was presenting the BP results. He described the company as a cash machine. And it's really interesting to look at these companies because I think BP and Shell, their break-even price is around 40 or maybe just above $40 a barrel, and at about $60 a barrel, between kind of $60 and $70 a barrel, BP and Shell were making quite significant profits. And the average oil price over the last sort of 3, 4, 5 months or so has been over $100 a barrel. So quite significantly more, quite a lot more, considering if normally these companies are making sort of $20 a barrel profit, then now they've expanded that from $20 to around $60 a barrel profit, which is crazy amounts. Because each incremental uplift in the dollar price of oil has a significant impact on the bottom line of these companies. So you can understand why windfall tax has been called for, and it's totally understandable. And I would say that the majority of investors within these companies would 100% agree and say, yeah, okay, that is fair. What's interesting, of course, is that the oil industry is very cyclical. So the oil price goes up, it goes down, and you'll probably remember at this point 2 years ago, the oil price went negative. There was so much oil around the world that nobody wanted because no one was using their cars, no one was flying, that the oil companies couldn't even give it away. Nobody wanted oil because they had nowhere to store it. Like where are you going to put it? You're just going to put it like in barrels in your garden. Like what are you going to do with it? So there was no space for it. And now the absolute opposite has happened. And what the oil companies say is that, we went through this hard time and now we're going through the good times, and it kind of evens out to average. So it's super interesting. You can understand kind of both sides of the argument. And it's just up to you to decide whatever you think is correct. But at the end of the day, these companies do seem pretty solid because they just have that underlying cash flow. They've got the resources there. They've got the rigs set up. They've got the drilling equipment set up, and all they're doing is literally pumping out oil. Which is gaining them revenue. So in fact, it's a very, very good business model at the moment, and we're probably going to see these businesses continue to increase in price as long as the oil price stays where it is. It's going to be, these companies are pretty safe. So you can see that despite, say, Harbour, Serica, and Inquest and Hurricane dropping 10%. These are still, solid businesses. It doesn't mean the businesses are going to fail. The tax is on profits. So if the businesses don't make profits, they don't pay that additional windfall tax. So it's the market is just reacting to the fact that between now and 2025, December 2025, there is this extra 25% levy, and what that means is that less returns for the investor over that time period. But obviously, you just have to see how oil prices go. There's probably a level at which oil prices aren't sustainable, and people kind of thought that was over $100 a barrel, but actually, as you can see now, it has stayed at that level for quite a long time, so who knows when that's going to come down. I think lots of the analysts are predicting that for the rest of the year, the oil price is going to stay the same. It's going to be around about this level. It might fluctuate up and down, but there might even be a spike. And that would be very interesting. It would cause more inflation. It would cause a lot of hardship, really. And so these companies are going to be kind of liable for that hardship. And at the end of the day, actually, we kind of need these companies to drill more oil to ease the price, because the more supply there is, then that'll satisfy the demand and bring the price back down again. So the other companies that I wanted to mention as well. SSE, Centrica and Drax, they are the electricity producers, and what they went down on kind of Thursday and Friday as well, despite the fact there was no levy on them. But investors are sort of worried that what's going to happen is they are next in line, and so as these additional price caps go up, these companies are going to make more money, because that price cap is there to stop SSE, Centrica and Drax making too much money. But they are going to potentially be hit with a levy as well at some point, maybe. Apparently it's not on the table, but they are next in line. So maybe that's what investors are worried about, and why the share prices have gone down a little bit sort of Thursday and Friday. But at the end of the day, the prices are up very a lot. They're up very much because they are just going to make more money as these caps go up. So super interesting to see kind of what's going to happen and understand kind of how this oil price is affecting the companies. And of course, it's the first windfall tax we've had in the UK since a long time ago. I think it was Margaret Thatcher, and don't quote me on that, but it was a long time ago that we've had another windfall tax, so it's not something that happens very often. And what it might do is it might detract from investment in the North Sea, but it's so hard to tell. I just have to kind of see what happens with these companies. But hopefully that gave you guys some insight into kind of what was happening and why these companies have reacted the way they have done in terms of share price. So we'll just follow it along. We'll see what happens. I'll give further updates as we go. Yeah, feel free to leave me any comments in the comment section and let me know what you think, because it's super interesting. And I'll catch you in the next video.